Who lives on North Sentinel Island?
You can turn back now, or learn the stuff they don't want you to know.
Hi, welcome back. That's Matt behind the camera. I'm Ben. That makes this Stuff They Don't Want You to Know. This week, Matt and I covered secret places. Very different secret places. We covered RAF Menwith Hill, the one with all the golf balls, or radomes. We covered the Ark of the Covenant, its alleged location in Ethiopia and St. Mary's of Zion. However, we wanted to save the most exciting one for last, or at least the most mysterious, that is North Sentinel Island, located within the Bay of Bengal, just off the coast of southern Asia. North Sentinel Island has been separated from pretty much the rest of the world for about 60,000, 65,000 years, and this place has a human population. But what are they like? We don't really know. There are somewhere between 50 to an estimated 500 people, and when you see a number with that much variance, that's sort of a code for people saying we have no idea what the number is. The point being that they are one of the most isolated, if not the most isolated group of human beings on the planet. This is because every single time that someone has approached them from outside, the Sentinelese have attacked, and successfully. This isn't just like ancient, Chinese explorers, Marco Polo stuff. Every time outsiders have come to the North Sentinel Island, the people on that island have viciously attacked and, if possible, killed whomever was unfortunate enough, unlucky enough, or just plain dumb enough to approach the shore. Now, for a long, long time, historically, it's been considered that the residents of this island chain were cannibals. A lot of that came from the idea that they were wearing bones of their ancestors around their body. And while that may be true in some cases, it doesn't necessarily mean they ate anybody. However, this anecdote, I guess the fair word stereotype, kept the people of North Sentinel Island isolated for a long time. Now, you may recall a little thing called the British Empire. They went around and did some tremendously messed up things to most of the world. The British couldn't even crack the case on North Sentinel Island. They had a practice at this time where when they were reaching out to indigenous people or isolated tribes, they would find one member of the tribe or another member or something. They would kidnap them, essentially, but then they would treat them very well. They would shower them with gifts. They would, laugh at their jokes, tell them they were cool, and then they would send them back, and that person would go back and be like, hey, those British folks are pretty good, they get me. And this would be repeated as many times as necessary on individuals in a tribe to make the tribe more friendly toward the British. Didn't work on the Sentinelese. They hunted for a while. They found ultimately 2 elderly people, 4 small children. They kidnapped them. They took them back to Port Blair, and immediately 2 of the elderly people died. And then the 4 kids eventually were just returned to the island where they disappeared in the forest. And so this started this legend that, not only could the residents of North Sentinel Island never allow outsiders into the island, but they also couldn't tolerate life out of the island. Now, this happened before people really understood that invaders, especially European invaders, were bringing all sorts of new diseases that folks had never encountered before. So smallpox, for instance, could have easily killed these people, and it's quite possible that the return of those 4 small children triggered an epidemic. However, we don't know for sure because nobody can really get in there. So what do we know about North Sentinel Island now? We know that based on some observations, it's quite possible that these populations are maybe in groups of 2 to 6 large groups of 20 to 60 people each. We know that they're probably living a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. What does this mean? This means that they probably don't practice agriculture. This may mean that they are not capable of making fire on their own. Not that they're not capable of having fire and using it, just they aren't capable of creating it with flint and bow and friction. And although there's no evidence of them crafting metal tools, we do know that if they're not smelting stuff, they've been able to create metal tools from salvaging all the shipwrecks that have washed up on the nearby reef. We also know that their language is unintelligible. Not even nearby tribes in similar circumstances understand the speech of the people on North Sentinel Island. And one other thing that we know about the Sentinelese is that the Indian government has banned any and all contact with them. The Indian Navy routinely patrols about 3 miles out around the island, doesn't allow anyone in. And I guess they would allow someone out, but that would be maybe the first time in tens of thousands of years that someone born on the island attempts to leave of their own volition. That's a very short list of the stuff we know. Let's see what we don't know. Well, we don't really have any idea what their personal beliefs are. We don't have any idea what the social dynamic is. We don't have any idea why this tribe is so xenophobic. And we don't really know what will happen to this tribe in the future. One of the more recent news items about the group was that in 2004, a deadly tsunami went through the Bay of Bengal and devastated the area. So a helicopter was sent to fly over North Sentinel Island to see if anyone survived. Apparently, the Sentinelese, who somehow knew the tsunami was coming in advance, were able to leave from their low-lying area, find some high points for shelter, and then the first person that they see on the island is this guy who runs out with a bow and arrow and starts taking headshots at the helicopter. Now, of course, if you think about it in the historical context, the outside world is much, much more dangerous for these people than they would ever be to the outside world. We just have to look back on the history of any kind of encounter like this, and we notice that even in modern day encounters like in South America and Brazil and Ecuador and Peru, uncontacted tribes encounter alcoholism, slave labor, rampant disease, sexual exploitation. I mean, usually it's bad news when someone from the quote-unquote modern world comes to speak to your leader or whatever with an uncontacted tribe. So that's it. There's really not that much else to tell because there's very little that's known about the mysterious people of North Sentinel Island. I mean, it's harder to get there than it is to get to Pyongyang. And what we want to leave you with are just a couple of questions. What do you think is actually happening at North Sentinel Island? Do you think this is really a population of genuine Neolithic people? 2, what do you think will be the future of the inhabitants of North Sentinel Island? We'd love to hear your thoughts, as well as your thoughts about uncontacted tribes or populations around the earth in general. All right, that's it. Our next classic episode, another secret place. Now, this is a deep cut for Matt and I. It is the Denver International Airport. Check it out. Let us know what you think. You can find us on Facebook. Drop us a line at Twitter. You can always send us an email directly. We are conspiracy@discovery.com.